Hello everyone, this will be the 10th chapter of The Second Life of the Guardian, written and read by Insect Overlord. This chapter is titled, Can Kids Even Get Charged for Crime? Now that he had his VPN, Izuku was ready to do what he does best, make people's lives hell. Only, instead of his father's, this time it was the police's, because F the police, ACAB. Monday night, Izuku snuck out of his bedroom. He crept down the hall on tiptoes, past his parents' room and to his dad's office. Izuku used to spend a lot of time there watching clips of All Might, before hero fight videos were all but banned to stop his nightmares, that is. Quiet as he could, he clicked the door shut. He crept over to the desk and climbed into the chair. He tried to sit normally, but he could barely see over the edge of the desk. He grabbed a pillow from the couch in the room and sat on that. Damn his height. Izuku booted up the family computer. It was a newer model, much more advanced than he thought they could afford, but maybe his dad just liked fancy computers. Izuku logged it on, having long since memorized the passcode, and navigated to the VPN's website to enter his code. After that, Izuku decided to do some of his own coding to further protect himself, should the police ever come after him. When Izuku was Marinette, he had heard Max ramble about programming enough to pick up on a thing or two. That, and he had once built his own website from the ground up when he created his fashion brand, MDC. So, Izuku knew quite a bit about programming, and could recognize good programs from a mile away, which is why he was shocked to see the family computer already had great protections embedded. Not as great as Max's, but still way better than a family computer needed. What was his dad doing on here? Selling drugs? Izuku huffed and shook his head. His dad was way too airheaded to be a secret crime boss who sold drugs. Yesterday's excursion was a testament to that. Still, it didn't explain the programming. Whatever, it was useful, and Izuku wasn't one to look a gift horse in the mouth, as they say. Izuku looked over the programming and fixed a few holes. All in all, he was finished securing the computer way sooner than he was expecting. He had planned to get everything ready tonight to start his, activities tomorrow. But, thanks to his dad's possible shady business, he now had time for a little fun. Izuku made quick work of hacking into the Musatafu's police department servers. From there, he located their unsolved cases. Time to do the cops' jobs for them and rub it in their faces. Tsukauchi Naomasa was exhausted. He had been trying to solve a case of hacking vigilantism for almost 6 months now, to no avail. The hacker, dubbed Anon by the Force for how mysterious they were, had plowed through their unsolved cases, and with every case they solved, they would mock whatever officers were assigned for being lazy. The way Aon wrote made Naomasa worry they were underage. They used very simple words, even though it was clear they were incredibly intelligent. However, it was also possible they were simply a foreigner, and Japanese was their second language. Whatever the case may be, it was clear Anon could become dangerous. They may be doing good now, but they were technically working outside the law, and Naomasa's superiors were breathing down his neck to catch them. Naomasa breathed a heavy sigh, and got up from his desk to get more coffee. Staring at Anon's file wasn't doing him any good. It was depressingly lacking of any substantial information. Suspect's name, unknown. Alias, Anon. Age, unknown. Sex/gender, unknown/unknown. Appearance, unknown. Alleged crimes, hacking into restricted servers, stealing confidential files, harassment, illegal quirk use. Timeline of activity, August 2XXX to present day. Else, suspect occasionally contacts officers' work and personal numbers. Any attempt to respond or track the messages turns up nothing. What the file didn't say was that, as of 2 weeks ago, Naomasa had an open line of contact with the hacker. Anon had warned him that if he ever shared their number, they would know. They would throw out their phone and wouldn't attempt to restore contact. Naomasa didn't doubt them. They had told him they gave him their number for emergencies, and any attempt to track it would be fruitless. They were right about the second part, but not the emergency bit. Anon. Hey, look what I found. Anon. Image description. Small gray cat curled up under a park bench. A bush can be seen behind it. Anon. She is sleeping. Anon. I think she might be sick. Sometimes, Naomasa rethought his assumption that Anon was just a foreigner and not underage. They talked like a child, not like the expert hacker they proved themselves to be. Detective Fart. She's probably fine. Detective Fart. Cats like to sleep. Anon. I know that. Anon. But she's sleeping a lot today. Anon. Should I take her to a vet? I don't know how to do that. Anon. Can you take her? I'll tell you where she is and you can help her. Now Masa sighed. If he wanted to gain Anon's trust and learn more about them, this was a good place to start. Guess he was doing this. Detective Fart. Fine. Tell me where she is and I'll take her to the vet after I get off work. Anon. Yay! Thanks. You're a good guy, Sukuuchi, even if you chose a bad profession. Anon has changed Detective Fart's name to Detective Cat Dad. Anon. Her name is Suzanne, and she's sleeping in Red Bridge Park. Detective Cat Dad. Aren't you at the park if you just took her picture? Why would you give out your location to me so easily? Anon. I'm leaving now, but even if I stayed, you wouldn't recognize me. That could be useful information. Now Masa pocketed his phone and started to pack up to go home. He wasn't going to make any headway if he didn't get some sleep, and besides, technically this cat was a lead. Izuku was enjoying his life as a digital vigilante. He had spent the past 6 months staying up late solving police cases. He had even found where they dumped the cases they deemed low priority. Usually that meant the victims had undesirable quirks. Izuku was glad he started helping out because the cops were just as corrupt as the heroes, if not worse. Though, really, no surprise there. There was one good cop, though. Detective Sukuuchi Naomasa. Izuku saw how he took on a lot of those low-priority cases. Just a month before, he had cracked a case on a trafficking ring of those with heteromorphic quirks. It was thanks to him that all those people were saved. So, yeah, Izuku liked Sukuuchi. He had picked up a burner phone a few weeks ago after his mom finally started to let him go on errands to the corner store alone, and gave the detective his number. Not before taking measures to make sure it was untraceable, of course. Sukuuchi may be a good guy, but he was still a cop. Izuku had told the detective it was just for emergencies, but the truth was, Izuku just wanted someone to talk to who wouldn't treat him like a little kid. It was a little harder to convince his parents to let him walk to preschool alone, but after months of begging, they finally gave in. His dad made him carry his personal alarm every time, and his mom gave him a taser. She made sure he knew how to use it safely first, but Izuku was still a little surprised she trusted him with it. He wanted to be surprised that she even owned such a well-made, high-voltage taser, but after the whole we'd kill for you thing, he couldn't muster up the feeling. Izuku pitied anyone who got on her bad side. With no one there to catch him, Izuku liked to use his walks to and from preschool to message Sukuuchi. Izuku swung his legs from where he sat on top of the monkey bars. He could see Suzanne's bench from his perch. There were a few other kids in the park, so Izuku didn't look too out of place, even if he felt it. Despite what he told Sukuuchi, Izuku was not planning to leave until he knew the cat was safe. 15 minutes after he texted, the detective drove up in a sleek black car. He got out and looked around. Whether for the cat or Anon, Izuku didn't know. After a few seconds, he spotted Suzanne. When Sukuuchi reached the bench, Izuku decided to mess with him a bit. Was it reckless? Yes, but Izuku was bored, okay? Hey, mister, Izuku called. The detective turned to look at him, so he quickly hopped off his perch and headed over. What are you doing here? You don't look like you have any kids. Are you going to play on the swings? You might break them, he asked innocently. Sukuuchi looked uncomfortable. No, I'm here for the cat. Izuku tilted his head. What do you want with Suzanne? That was apparently the wrong thing to say, because the man's eyes widened. Suzanne? Where did you come up with that name? He asked, feigning polite curiosity, but Izuku knew better. This was turning into an interrogation. Crap. Why did he have to put himself in situations like this? Now, Izuku knew all about Sukuuchi's quirk. It was listed in his file in the police database, after all. So Izuku knew that if he lied, the man would know, and things could get really bad really fast. The person that feeds her calls her that, he answered. It was true, just that person was Izuku. Oh, what's this person look like? Sukuuchi asked eagerly. Izuku took this as his chance to throw him off his trail. Not that he ever really was on his trail to begin with, but Izuku liked taking precautions. Well, he started. He clasped his hands behind his back and started rocking on his heels. She's a teenager, and she's really cute. Technically true. Izuku was mentally a teenager, and he was pretty cute. Plus, by using she/her pronouns, Sukuuchi would assume he was a girl. And she wouldn't want a stranger messing with her cat. She loves her a lot. He said the last part with a pointed glare. Sukuuchi raised his hands in surrender. Oh, I'm sure she wouldn't mind. I'm going to take Suzanne to the vet because she's sick. If you see your friend again, tell her that the cat's safe. What's your name, kiddo? I'm Sukuuchi. Oh, hell no. Like Izuku was about to give his name to the detective assigned to his case. He might tell his mom Izuku knew a criminal, and he did not have the mental capacity to deal with that. Izuku took a step back, clutched his safety alarm, and made an effort to look concerned. My mommy says not to talk to strangers because they might be bad guys, so I don't think I should tell you. Are you a bad guy, Sukuuchi-san? Sukuuchi eyed his safety alarm warily. No, don't worry, kiddo. I'm just taking a sick cat to the vet. He reached down and scooped up Suzanne, who let out a quiet meow and then went limp in his arms. Maybe Izuku shouldn't have distracted Sukuuchi for so long. What if Suzanne got worse before she could get to the vet? You better hurry. She looks pretty sick, mister. Izuku urged him on. Sukuuchi looked down at the unusually quiet cat. Right, of course. With that, he rushed out of the park to his car. Izuku breathed a sigh of relief. As much as he enjoyed messing with the detective, it was nerve-wracking as hell. Now Masa sat in the vet's office, in awe of his luck. He had learned more about Anon from one interaction with a child than from 6 months of painstaking investigation. He had learned 3 very important things. 1. Anon was a girl. 2. Anon often visited Red Bridge Park, so it was possible she lived in the area. 3. Anon was a teenager. A child. A child had been running circles around the Mutsutafu police force for half a year, and no one could get any information on her that she didn't give them. It took another child to find anything substantial on her, and even that, it seemed like the boy only knew her in passing. He wasn't a real lead. Before he could ponder the Anon case more, he heard a nurse call. Suzanne. Ah, she's mine. Now Masa stood up. Then he paused and rubbed the back of his neck. Well, not mine, but I'm taking care of her for now. The nurse smiled and responded, Well, she's done getting checked out. He led the detective to a small room where Suzanne lay on an exam table, the vet beside her. Ah, you must be Suzanne's human, the older woman said good-naturedly. Now Masa chuckled. That's me. Suzanne has been a peach. She's so sweet and good-natured. You said you found her at a park? He nodded. Well, we checked her for a microchip but couldn't find anything, so she's probably a stray and not a lost pet. How a stray got to be so docile, I have no idea. Someone I know has been taking care of her and feeding her. Now Masa inputted. Ah, that might do it. Now, on to Suzanne's health. We couldn't find anything wrong with her, so we assumed she just ate some expired food. She's perfectly fine, though perhaps a bit nauseous. We gave her some mild meds to settle her stomach. The vet explained. Now Masa frowned. That can't be right. She was acting pretty lethargic before, he said as he glanced down at the cat. Suzanne was much more perky than before, chasing the vet's hand for pets while purring steadily. Could that really be all that was bothering her? The vet smiled wryly. She yowled like there was no tomorrow when we were doing our checkup. So that's what he had heard. She's a bit of a drama queen. Now Masa took the cat to the checkout counter to get her overly expensive meds and left the building. He sat in the driver's seat with Suzanne on his lap. She refused to sit in the passenger seat and pulled out his phone. Detective Cat Dad. I took Suzanne to the vet. She's a professionally pronounced drama queen. Detective Cat Dad. There was nothing wrong with her. The vet said it could be food poisoning and gave me some medication for her. Detective Cat Dad. Expensive medication, might I add. Detective Cat Dad. You owe me 9,000 yen. Anon. That overreactor. I thought she was dying. Anon. Like I'd pay you that much. You're a cat dad now. These things come with the title. Detective Cat Dad. What? No. I don't have the time or knowledge to care for a cat. I thought she was your cat anyways. You really want me to keep her? Anon. My apartment doesn't allow cats, and anyways, you'll do just fine. I trust you. Now Masa's heart did not warm at that. It didn't. He was just happy to have some more information on Anon. She lived in an apartment, and it was one with a no-pets policy. It wasn't enough information to narrow down the search much, but he would take what he could get. Now Masa looked down to where he was unconsciously petting Suzanne, who was making biscuits on his pant legs. Maybe he could take care of a cat. He had the space, only because it would help him get closer to Anon, of course. This concludes Chapter 10 of The Second Life of the Guardian. I hope you liked this one. I've been waiting to make Izuku into a vigilante for quite a while, so I hope you enjoyed it. The next chapter should be up soon. Thank you so much for listening.